This is an Audiomint original.
Welcome to Nation of Animation, a cartoon book club podcast for all ages. I am one of your hosts, Brooke Smith.
And I am another of your hosts, Ryan Stevens.
Ryan, I have something I have to tell you.
Tell me. Tell me
Whatever.
now.
You don't buy into these little bits
Tell me.
I do. I'm so
Brooke,
gullible.
I'm dying here. Tell me, what is it? Are you leaving? Are you starting your own show?
I am leaving.
What?
And I'm going somewhere across the border, abroad.
Why? Is it because of Yahweh Reddit? Are you leaving me to join Yahweh Reddit? Is that what it is?
I'm not leaving you to join Yahweh Reddit. I'm leaving you to move to my favorite country. Can you guess what that country is?
Brooke's favorite country would be...
I'll give you some hints.
Okay, please. I'm not good at geography, so I'm going to need every lifeline I can get.
The flag is red and white.
Switzerland.
Good guess. They have a hot prime minister with questionable morals and backstory.
China.
Once again, good guess. An animal they're famous for is the moose.
I want to say China again, but I know that is... You've already said that's not it.
It's Canada, you son of a gun!
Canada? You're leaving me for Canada? Our neighbors to the north?
I am.
Ugh. Well, I'm happy for you. They do love us there, so...
Our listeners at Nation of Animation may not know this. And I will say that Ryan and we're not super involved in charting and where we chart and our metrics and all that. But I keep up with our charting a little. And almost every week, consistently, we are in the top 50 animation and manga podcasts in Canada.
So this one's for you, Canadians. You jolly
Isn't that
Canucks.
so weird?
Yep, this one's going out for you.
So we wanted to show our appreciation. What are you doing?
I'm playing Oh Canada.
Oh.
Live from my phone.
Thank you.
Go ahead, continue.
We wanted to show our appreciation for our fans in our neighboring country to the north. Mm-hmm. So this is a very special episode of Nation of Animation, I would say.
This is our Canada Spectacular. Oh, Canada, we love you the way you love us. Thank you for listening to us talk about cartoons. Full title.
So today we're talking about 4 Canadian cartoons
that we think exemplify the Canadian spirit.
Sure. Or just ones we like.
There's a lot of them. Here's the thing. So it turns out there are a lot of animation studios in Canada, specifically in Vancouver and Montreal. So there are a lot of shows that are produced in Canada, even if they are partially animated or voice acted elsewhere. But shows like Inspector Gadget, Totally Spies, Reboot, Ed, Ed and Eddy, Max and Ruby, Cyber Chase, Maggie and the Ferocious Beast, Johnny Test, Beast Wars, which I put on this list twice because I love that show so much, and the short-lived Donkey Kong Country animated series are all produced and made in our jolly neighbors to the north, Canada.
And those aren't even the shows we're talking about today.
Yeah, we've got even more.
So before we start talking about the shows, I know we've written down some things that you and I like about Canada, that we know about Canada. Full disclosure, I've never been to Canada.
Nor have I.
So this is all from things we've seen on TV or things we've heard, but I would say they're moderately accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ryan, what are some of your favorite things about Canada?
Number one with a bullet is universal health care. I know a lot of insurance companies in America have enacted a smear campaign to make us think it's not efficient, even though it actually is. And any country with a basic amount of empathy for its citizens would make it so that we have a right to live and a right to health. So universal health care, number one, easy, even though it is also the bare minimum
Easy.
a nation should do for its citizens. But that's that.
I would say second, I like that they manufacture a lot of maple syrup.
That's also good. That's very, very good.
I like maple syrup a lot. I don't eat pancakes without maple syrup. I would never.
You're not a honey person?
No. Oh my gosh. How dare you suggest that?
What about molasses?
Molasses is disgusting. And you
Wow.
know this, Ryan, because I tried molasses for the first time at your house. And it was one of the grossest things I've ever put in my mouth.
It is an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste. But anyway, so number two.
Thank you,
syrup.
Canada, for your syrup.
Number three, professional wrestling legend Bret the Hitman Hart. You were screwed, Bret. You deserved better.
I don't know who that is.
It's fine. What else do we like?
Here's something that you could like or you could hate. The CW network films most of their shows in Canada.
That is cool. CW shows are sometimes the closest to animated that live action shows can ever be.
I would agree with you.
And they are doing a live action Powerpuff Girls later, so that'll be a disaster. But a fun one.
Ugh. But they have Riverdale, and I love Riverdale, so I have to thank Canada for that.
I think the flag is also cool. Just a big leaf, white and red, stark color contrast. It's not busy like ours is. It's not covered in too many stripes and too many flags. It's just, it is what it is. There's a confidence there. From a design standpoint, it really does a lot with a little. I think the Canadian flag is a pretty good flag.
Also, they have great accents.
Varied.
You
not
and
just the
I are
one.
from the South, so we know a little something about accents.
That's true. And as far as accents go, they have them.
They do.
So there you go. So thank you, Canada, for all your non-animated exports. But now it's time to get into the real meat and potatoes of what makes Canadian animation so fun. And we're going to start with a real classic that I think I speak for a lot of us out in the nation of animation when I say a formative show, a program with a legacy that cannot be overstated. I'm talking about Arthur. You know this guy, Brooke? You met this guy?
I do know a little something about Arthur. I don't know off of my head the Arthur theme song, but I do know one song from Arthur that I would like to sing now.
You don't know? Yeah, okay, go ahead. Sing your song, and then we'll talk more about the theme song, because I have notes about the theme song, because it's great. But anyway.
Oh, okay. Having fun isn't hard when you got a library card.
Heck
And
yeah.
that's true.
That's the same one with, that's from the musical episode that also has the, like, Jekyll, Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll, Hyde, Hyde, Jekyll, Jekyll and Hyde song. It's also a jam. But you don't know, and I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day, where you can learn to work and play and get along with each other.
I guess I do know that song. Thank
You gotta
you
listen
for
to your
reminding
heart.
me.
Listen to the beat. Listen to the rhythm on the street. Open up your eyes.
That's a really
Open up
nice
your ears.
song.
Get together and make things better by working together.
Did you look these lyrics up?
No,
or did
this
you
is
know
all
them?
off the dome. It's a simple message, Brooke, and it comes from the heart. Believe in yourself. That's the name of the song. That's the place to start.
Oh, that's really nice that
a
you
great
remembered
song.
all the lyrics.
I know. I didn't realize I was going to be able to do this bit that far. I was prepared to pull out after every other line, but I kept knowing what came next.
Good
Yeah,
for you.
by Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. Believe in yourself.
I'm sorry, Ziggy Marley?
Yeah, Bob Marley's son. Yeah,
Wow.
he wrote the theme
Good
song
for
to Arthur,
him.
and it kicks ass.
That's iconic.
That's really, really good. So thank you, Ziggy Marley. Thank you, Melody Makers. So Arthur is adapted from the series of children's books by Mark Brown about Arthur the Aardvark going through life as an 8-year-old living in the great Elwood City, which is partially modeled off of Boston and also borrows elements of Toronto and Montreal, I read. It is developed by WGBH in Boston with voice acting in Toronto, Montreal, South Korea, and Hong Kong. The entire cast of Arthur actually lived in Toronto, where Cookie Jar Entertainment, one of the producing companies, is located. It was developed by Kathy Waugh for PBS, and over its 25 seasons, it has had 246 episodes. which is pretty dang good.
Wow. I noticed they're living in Elwood City. I wonder if the Amazing World of Gumball took that to make Elmwood, which is where they live.
Maybe. Maybe. I
A
like
little
thinking of
homage.
Gumball as just Arthur's sort of feral younger brother.
That makes a lot
series.
of sense to me.
So yeah, the series began in 1996. This show is old in a good way. This is a show that has longevity. It recently ended the final season, in the 25th season, which is still to come, I suppose. In 2018, it was renewed for its final 4 seasons to end with 25. So we still have some Arthur left on the horizon, but soon we will have all the Arthur we will ever have had. And that is kind of sad. But that's life. Arthur is going to retire undefeated. Great show. Arthur is a really nice slice of life show. It sort of has the same narrative structure as like The Simpsons, where everyone in Elwood City is kind of interesting, the same way everyone in Springfield could be at least an interesting person for a plot of an episode, whether it's Buster the Rabbit or Muffy who's rich and terrible, and her dad, Muffy Crosswire is their name, and they're all terrible rich people because Arthur is Praxis. There's Francine, who's the tomboy. There's Binky. There's Brain. You got the whole game. You got DW.
I was about to say, you're
undefeated.
missing the best character,
I was building
DW.
to the best one, DW. Arthur is also really on the ball in terms of like giving messaging to its audience. This is a show that frequently, when I watched it growing up, would have little interstitials in between each like 10-minute episode where kids would talk about like what they were learning in school, or they would talk about like books they've read and all that good stuff. Really educational. It has episodes that talk about asthma, episodes about dyslexia, cancer, about even PTSD. There's an episode where there's a fire at their school and the kids are like really traumatized by it. I vividly remember that episode, which is wild. Good stuff. Also, Mr. Ratburn, the teacher, is gay, and that's cool.
I do remember when all the kids went to his gay wedding, which is really nice.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a big public event. Yeah. Brooke, what's your relationship with Arthur? Did you watch this growing up?
I did watch some of it. I wasn't like a huge Arthur fan. I will say Arthur aired on PBS, and I was firmly in the Nickelodeon camp.
Okay.
Like, if anything was on Nickelodeon, I would turn that on instead of PBS.
Wow, you were a real company family, huh?
Yes. But if things weren't popping on Nickelodeon on a specific day, I would flip over to PBS, watch some Between the Lions,
great show.
which isn't animated, or Arthur,
puppets.
or Sagwa, which I love. The way that I relate to Arthur now, I mean, I think it's how most people do, which is through memes. So everyone
Arthur
knows like the
clenching his
Arthur
fist,
clenching
yeah.
his fist, yeah. And then there's another great one with DW where she goes up to Arthur's room and there's a sign on the door that says like keep out, and DW says something like, that won't stop me because I can't read.
I think a lot of the humor of Arthur really holds up, and I think that's why it's still so popular in the internet age. I still think there are a lot of like really great one-liners or jokes in Arthur, but there's one episode I remember where Francine is over at Arthur's house, and DW says, Francine, can I ask you a question? And Francine says, sure. And DW goes, why don't you go to your own house? It's just brutal, just murdered her. So violent for a kid's show. It's so good. Another piece of fun fact. So Cookie Jar Entertainment, which I mentioned earlier, in 1999, when it was going by the name Cinar, CIA-NAR. Anyway, it was investigated for tax fraud because Chairman Michelin Carest and President Ronald Weinberg invested $120 million into Bahamian bank accounts without letting the board know. Cinar was also paying American screenwriters for work while continuing to accept a Canadian federal grant for its content. So, oopsie. Apparently, Arthur was not involved with these misdoings, with these illicit
Arthur
deals.
himself, Arthur the Aardvark.
Yeah, Arthur Aardvark was acquitted on all charges. The production of Arthur was not roped into all this. Just other things that Cinar was doing was implicated. So, that is interesting. I just think that's funny. Also, Arthur has a ton of guest stars. Neil Gaiman's been on there several times. Who else has been on there? I have a list of celebrity guests. Fred Rogers, RIP to a real one. Alan Cumming, Idina Menzel has been on episodes. Larry King, RIP to another real one. Alex Trebek, RIP to a real one.
Ugh.
Lance Armstrong.
Is Arthur like a Death Note situation?
Yeah. Well, let's
Maybe
see
don't
here.
put that in. I don't know.
No, let's include it. We need to get. No, never mind. I was going to say something I would definitely need to cut out. So, so that's the Backstreet Boys. They're doing okay.
That's true.
Yeah. Yo-Yo Ma, he's still all right, right?
Yes.
Someone contacted Yo-Yo Ma. Yeah, he's okay.
He was playing his cello in the vaccine lines.
Oh, that's
to,
right.
Like, calm people.
Thank you, Yo-Yo Ma. Thank you for your service. So yeah, I think that Arthur has a really powerful potential for like longevity. I think that a lot of its humor was rooted in its characters, and I think a lot of its storytelling was a really palatable thing for parents and kids to enjoy. We'll be talking about another series later that less accomplishes this. But I think Arthur really stands out as a nice high watermark for like kids TV and PBS animation in general. What do you think, Brooke?
I agree. I mean, you can't beat having fun isn't hard when you've got a library card.
There you go. So that's Arthur, everybody. We will definitely do a full Arthur episode at some point, because just looking back at it for this, I was like, man, Arthur's so good. I want to talk about Arthur all the time with all my friends at school. Well, what else do we want to talk about? What else is great from the great land of Canada?
I have one that I do want to talk about. And I think this one is less well known, but some people, when they hear me say it, will be like, you've unlocked a memory from deep, deep inside. Yes, that's the Canadian cartoon Braceface.
Braceface? Her life is complicated.
Boyfriends!
Don't want to talk about it.
The theme song is so funny. It's just a series of interrelated statements. That don't really go together.
Call and response. It's like a word, and then Braceface says how she thinks about it, and then she keeps going.
Yeah, it's Braceface. My life is complicated. Boyfriends. Don't want to talk about it. Teenage. I'll work it out in the end. Braceface.
There you go.
So Braceface was created by Melissa Clark and executive produced by superstar Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, nice.
Who many people might know from the film Clueless. And Alicia also voiced Sharon Spitz, the main character, for the first 2 seasons.
Dang, did they boot her? What happened?
I'm not sure, actually. I would guess she decided, not to do it anymore.
Okay.
Because she was an executive producer. When you're an executive producer, you call the shots.
Fair enough.
I imagine. I don't know a lot about it.
Wait, she would have been like 20. She was like in her early 20s when this show started. Dang, that's good for you, Alicia Silverstone. I'm jealous of your career. But
she heard that and she says, "Thank you, Ryan." So Braceface aired on Teletoon in Canada and on Fox Family Channel in the US from 2001 to 2004. I was just looking at air dates, and one episode in Canada definitely aired on September 12th, 2001.
Listen, good. It's what the people needed. America would have benefited from some Braceface.
And that makes sense. That some television shows would have kept airing. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, why? I guess that's a question. I don't know. What did Nickelodeon do after 9/11? Did they pull all programming and just have footage of SpongeBob saluting a flag for a few days?
I can't remember. I was 6 years old. So,
wow. Who can say? Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll have to do an episode on cartoons post 9/11.
Nation of Animation special report.
All the new episodes of cartoons that aired on September 12th, 2001.
Yeah, we'll go through the TV guide. We'll see what was happening.
But that's great. America. We're talking about Canada.
Right, I'm sorry. Back to the nation that matters right now.
So I remember seeing Braceface on TV, I guess on Fox Family Channel, whatever that is. But I do remember seeing it and enjoying it quite a bit. So the show chronicles the life of Sharon Spitz.
Great name.
What a name. She's a middle school girl. At the beginning, she does age as the series goes on, whose braces will pick up radio frequencies or harness electrical power.
Or be magnetic.
But it leads...
This is the most, like, late 90s, early 2000s bullshit storytelling. I'm just like, we don't know. The braces do whatever they need to do. Have fun. Go get them, Alicia Silverstone. It's great. I love it. It's so made up. It's great.
It's full of, like, wild shenanigans that happen to Sharon because of her braces. I can hear her voice so clearly in my head, and I never knew it was Alicia Silverstone. I know exactly what Sharon Spitz sounds like, though.
Can you give us a Alicia Silverstone? Can you give us a Sharon Spitz take?
Oh my
a
gosh.
Spitz take?
I don't know. If this is bad, don't put it in, okay?
Sure.
My braces are ruining my life.
That
is not good.
That's the show to me. That's the show. That's Braceface, folks. Top to bottom, that's a Braceface.
No, it's not. It was a very endearing show, I thought, though. And it came out around the same time as Told by Ginger came out. And they're sort of similar in that...
The American Braceface, yeah.
Yes. In that they first of all, the characters grow up as the series goes on. It only had 3 seasons, so they didn't get a huge chance to. But Sharon did age out of middle school. She did eventually go to high school. Also, there's an episode about Sharon being on her period, but thinking she has appendicitis and going to the hospital.
Huh.
Which is very like As Told by Ginger. And this episode aired before the period episode of As Told by Ginger.
Or didn't Ginger also have an appendix episode?
Yes.
So.
Wow, Braceface's influence. A cool thing about Braceface, it features the voice of an early 2000s Canadian superstar in one of his first bigger roles, and that is Mr. Michael Cera.
Wow, Scott Pilgrim was in Braceface.
He was.
Who was he in Braceface?
He was the little brother.
Oh,
So Sharon has an older brother and a younger brother. Michael Cera voiced the younger brother.
And her older brother is Andre the Giant.
Tell us a little bit about the older brother,
He's
Ryan.
He's 9 feet tall. He's enormous. This is similar to just like the completely goofy world building that I mentioned a second ago, where it's just like, yeah, my brother... In the first episode, Sharon says, my brother just hit a growth spurt, and now he's so big. And he literally does not fit in their house. Like, he is, like, stooping down when he's upstairs. He has to, like, kneel to go through doors. He towers over their fridge, and everyone else. He is just a monster, and this is not explained or examined. And why should you? It's a cartoon. I just think that this makes me think of how As Told by Ginger also has ghosts and girls with psychic powers that just exist for no reason. But they're in the Carl plot. They're off to the side. Braceface is trying to do everything at once. And I think that's really neat that it is like, yeah, regular teenage problems, also magic braces, also giants walk among us. And prom.
Yeah, so I think especially content-wise, and even in the writing style, it's very similar to As Told by Ginger, but if I'm thinking just of the animation and what it looks like, it looks to me a lot like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the animated series.
Mm-hmm. Or like the Beetlejuice animated series. I thought of that too.
Yeah, they're all sort of the same style.
Mm-hmm. Really angular, pretty flat, like animation. Like the character models are all very sort of pasted. They don't have like the sort of shading or I don't know, depth of field that like As Told by Ginger has. I don't think that's a knock. It's just a different like visual style.
Sure. So even though people may not remember it as much as other shows of the 90s and 2000s, it was listed by the website Fansided as one of the most underrated cartoons of the 90s and 2000s. So people are still recognizing Braceface. Also, I was looking through just the episode list, like refreshing ones I had seen before, and there is one called Pegged, which was a great name right off the bat. And then the description really...
Say what you will, As Told by Ginger never had a pegged episode, so point Braceface.
Yeah. So here's the description for the episode Pegged. Sharon, Maria, and Allison start their own band while Carmen, Brock, and Alden cross-dress to enter a girls-only Battle of the Band contest.
Boy, that is some early 2000s ass ideas on gender.
I don't know why it was called Pegged, but I want to thank them
pegs?
for doing it. I have no idea.
But yeah, who cares? That's just great. That's fun.
So, Braceface, you are undoubtedly a great gift to us from Canada. And we
Now,
so appreciate your legacy.
I would advise you listeners, if you try to search Braceface pegged after listening to this, do it with safe search on. Be careful out there.
Very considerate.
Anyway, speaking of other Canadian animation series from around the same time, from the early 2000s, I'd like to talk to you all about a little show called Angela Anaconda. You heard about this show, Brooke?
I have, and I think when people hear the name alone, they may not know what it is, but once you describe it, it's another like, oh my gosh, you've unlocked all these memories I've hidden deep inside.
So Angela Anaconda was a animated series, obviously because we're talking about it, that ran from 1999 to 2001. It also aired on the Fox Family Channel / Teletoon. So Angela and Braceface were just neighbors, just best pals. What a great like Saturday morning it must have been to catch Braceface and Angela Anaconda back to back, along with who knows what else was airing at that time. It was created by Joanna Ferrone and Sue Rose. Sue Rose, the voice of Angela Anaconda. Sue Rose also created Unfabulous and Pepper Ann, which you may be familiar with.
Oh my gosh, I love Pepper Ann. Unfabulous is okay, but Pepper Ann.
Pepper Ann's the real stuff. Oh my gosh.
Is Pepper Ann Canadian?
I don't know if it is. I don't know if it was produced by them too, but I know that Sue Rose had a hand in creating it. Why don't you give us a little taste of that theme song while we're hanging out?
Sure. Pepper Ann. Some words I don't know.
Coolest
Pepper
kid in 7th
she's
grade.
Like one in a million. No, that's next. Pepper Ann. Much too cool for 7th grade.
Oh, that's what it is.
Okay, apparently Pepper Ann is American.
So, sadly,
yeah.
No. Oh, well. We will talk about Pepper Ann one day, because that show also is very good. That show also kicks ass in the parlance of our times. Anyway, Angela Anaconda has a unique visual style. It is almost like collage. Every character seems to be made out of cutout pictures, almost like a ransom note sometimes. It looks like you're watching little ransomed newspaper clippings walk around. It's more sophisticated than that, but that is definitely my hazy memory before I went back. I watched a brief documentary on the making of Angela Anaconda. Core Digital Pictures and Decode Entertainment. Decode Entertainment is now called DHX Media Toronto, so thank you, Toronto, created the show. They did it with something called Elastic Reality, which is this particular program they used to animate the show, which was discontinued in 1999. So right as Angela Anaconda was starting, the technology was discontinued, so no one else could use it. So Angela Anaconda is kind of this technical animation marvel. It's like this time capsule of this particular striking visual style that doesn't and kind of can't exist anymore. Characters are based off face models because they would bring in children to take photographs, making every single phoneme or mouth sound in the English language. And then in animation, they just stitch all those mouth sound photographs together to make the animation go. Also, many of the voice actors in Angela Anaconda were children. That's not particularly groundbreaking, but I still think that it is like interesting and important. Obviously, Sue Rose is an adult. I believe that the only other adult in the main voice cast is Edward Glenn, who voices Gordy, who is like a little friend of Angela's who has asthma. I feel like a lot of shows around this time had asthma as like a side character identity. Is that just my brain making that up? I feel like that showed up a lot.
I think you're right, and I wonder if it's because like the stereotype of asthmatic kids being kind of nerdy, and they were trying to like combat that, but when I was a kid, nobody really cared if you had asthma.
Right. That's the thing. They treated it was like it was a distinct identity. Like you would have like your main character has a black friend and like another girl friend and then an asthmatic friend. And that's like, yes, this is the United Nations of people. It is other ethnicity, other gender, and asthmatic. And that is how we do diversity in the early 2000s. That's so strange. That's funny. I literally just like made that connection while we were recording right now in the moment. But her other friends, Johnny Abadi, and Gina Lash, voiced by Al Mukadam and Bryn McCauley, respectively, were both actual children at the time. And in this documentary I watched, it has them footage of them all recording in the booth together. And it's just very funny seeing two grown adults and two children standing opposite each other with recording booth equipment. And good for them. I think that adds a real authenticity to the voice acting, because these characters talk like kids do. The show is about Anaconda, who is this very imaginative, very active, and adventurous young 8-year-old, same age as Arthur, but definitely a lot more rambunctious and chaotic than the other characters, than other 8-year-olds, than young Arthur. Arthur would get his ass kicked by Anaconda. Arthur could not take the heat.
That's 100% true.
Angela Anaconda would wreck his whole shop. But no, I don't want my Canadian animation friends to fight, so let's perish that thought. But yeah, that is the general, it's very much slice of life, and the plots often feature Angela going on these elaborate flights of fancy and imaginative and daydreams that give the animators a chance to really stretch their stuff. Like in the first episode, it's maybe not the first episode. In one episode I watched where they're trying to like choose what their field trip is, and the rich girl named Nanette Manoir, which is such a good name for like the rich kid in a show. Nanette Manoir is Angela's opponent on where they want to go for a school trip, and Angela imagines like turning into Truckosaurus and eating her, and it's a very elaborately animated dream sequence. And I think that it's neat that this show, also similar to Braceface, balances the kooky with the more real day-to-day, because it lets Angela Anaconda get in these weird situations but also have her own mind palace within which to go on more exciting animated stuff. And that's Angela Anaconda. Great show. Another forgotten gem that I think, whether people really remember they've seen it or not, they're probably at least somewhat familiar with it.
Yeah, Angela Anaconda, I just remember the animation being so cool and like really one of a kind, which makes sense as the software was discontinued.
Yeah, I think it was really fascinating to see how they make it and see that it's like, yeah, we have to take photographs of every mouth sound and then also a bunch of different facial features, and then we just put all that on there. I want to think about the kid who modeled to be Angela Anaconda's face and just apparently had to do a single day of work, and now her face is the face of a cartoon character. Good for her.
Forever.
Very cool. Tangentially related to Angela Anaconda, in 2000, the Digimon movie was released in American theaters. And before it, there was an animated short of Angela Anaconda, where an Angela Anaconda and her friends are going to see the Digimon movie, and they're all quite excited about it. There is an account on Reddit of how this short film ended a marriage.
Oh, word?
And ruined some kids' kind of whole time. So I'm just going to read the text of this entire Reddit thread. So the initial post is a picture of Angela Anaconda dressed up as a Digimon. And then the first response says, "This short caused my parents' divorce." Second user says, "Okay, you have my attention. How?" And the original responder says, "I didn't know at the time that parents' relationship was rocky. I begged to go see Digimon movie. Parents agree, but I don't realize it's for them to spend some time together as well. Get to the theater, excited about the Digimon flick. We can even afford popcorn and drinks. Parents look happy. Angela Anaconda short comes on. Parents also don't speak very good English. My little boy mind can't comprehend all the fuck going on," quote unquote. "Parents are utterly confused by this Canadian fuck running around in a Digimon suit. I start crying and they pull me out of the theater. Mom and Dad start blaming each other for going to the wrong film. Dad throws away the popcorn Mom wanted. Lots of arguing and I'm still crying. Get out of parking lot and drive off in a rush. Get into an accident in a parking lot. Dad moves out a month later."
Oh my god.
And then it concludes with the final sentence, "Fucking bitch of a whore, Angela Anaconda ruined my life." So kind of mean at the end there. I don't know if we needed to call Angela those terrible things. That's not cool.
She didn't really do it.
I know, it's not her fault, your parents. If y'all had just waited 10 minutes, it would have been Digimon time. But I think that whole wind-up is so insane. Especially that it's like, we can even afford popcorn and drinks. Parents look happy. Angela Anaconda short comes on.
Oh. Wow, and it's a Canadian cartoon too.
Mm-hmm.
Canadians famous for being nice.
Right. This
And
was
look
not
what they've
much.
done.
Yeah, the Canadian manners were not on display for this poor family. But
Sad.
yeah, so that is the tragedy of the tragedy of Angela Anaconda's Digimon 2000 short.
Well, there is one.
Yeah, speaking of problems caused by cartoons, speaking
There's
of
one
unrest,
Canadian cartoon left to discuss today. And when I say this one, everyone will know what it is immediately. You don't have to dig into the recesses of your mind.
You may wish you didn't know, but
Because we're going to talk about Caillou.
Caillou, the inevitable.
Caillou, spelled Caillou. I get that it's French, but if you had never heard anyone pronounce it, there's no way that's what you would think
Yeah, probably not.
that says. But his name is Caillou. Caillou is a Canadian television show that aired on Teletoon from 1997 to 2010, based on a book series by Helene Desputeaux. And it's about a 4-year-old boy who is bald. I say that because it's really one of his defining characteristics.
Mm-hmm. Helene, I'm so sorry. I imagine the books are all right. I'm so sorry what happened, Helene.
And he imagines things. He's a little bald kid who has an imagination.
He is also a bastard.
As the internet claims. Also, apparently, for a few years, there were puppet segments in between, like, the act breaks of the show.
I remember those are the parts of Caillou I liked as a little kid. I was like, yeah, the puppets are good. I hate when Caillou's there, but the puppets are cool. It was like his cat and his, like, stuffed dinosaur, and there was a third one I don't remember. But the puppet stuff was all right.
But the puppets were only on PBS, and they took them out. So,
wow.
I'm sorry,
See,
Ryan.
Caillou, this is why your legacy is what it is, Caillou. Ridiculous.
Now, Caillou aired for 13 years, and it had 144 episodes, which is a staggering amount, really, for a show like Caillou.
Defund Caillou.
Caillou has become mostly famous, though, especially within the last few years, for the huge amount of internet hate that the show, and Caillou specifically himself,
Caillou
have
the lightning
gotten.
rod.
So if you just Google Caillou, immediately you get a whole lot of Caillou hate things.
I'm gonna Google Caillou right now live and see what the first result is. So the first result is, well, the first one is people also ask, why did Caillou get banned? Does Caillou have leukemia is the second result.
Oh my gosh. We'll talk a little
First
about
result,
that.
okay, that's Wikipedia. Then it's a New York Post article. Parents couldn't be happier that Caillou is canceled.
See, so really it's not even just the internet. It's people nationwide. So in a May 2017 article from the National Post, writer Tristan Hopper identified Caillou to be quite possibly the world's most universally reviled children's program.
Public enemy number one.
On Facebook, you can find any number of I Hate Caillou Facebook pages.
Brutal.
And there are a couple of reasons that people give. The number one is that Caillou is a spoiled brat. And those aren't necessarily my words, but they're not my words. Caillou is mean as hell. He thinks that the world belongs to him. He thinks that people should just give him everything that he wants. And his parents indulge him. They will give him whatever. They don't punish him. And people in Canada were legitimately afraid that these parents were painting Canadian parents in a bad light.
Damn.
That people in the United States would think, wow, that's how those Canadians parent
Caillou,
their
the
kids.
whole country is depending on you when you're letting us down.
So it was a national concern. And when Caillou was canceled, Ryan, you already brought one up, but several news articles came out about how parents were celebrating. They called Caillou pointless. They said there's no sort of educational component. Now, I will say, we've talked about other shows here that don't necessarily have an educational component.
I'm sorry. Just the use of the word pointless is so funny. Imagine looking at a 4-year-old and say, "You serve no purpose."
It is important to remember that Caillou is 4. So this show is sort of geared toward preschoolers, which is where I think the pointless argument comes in. Because if preschoolers are watching TV, you sort of want them to be learning something.
Yeah, give him a Sesame Street. Give him an Arthur.
But with Caillou, parents felt that Caillou did not learn a lesson at the end, so how would the kids? In 2015, Caillou topped an AV Club list of 8 kids shows to avoid at all costs. So he was above both Barney and Friends and Dora the Explorer.
Caillou standing above a mountain of bodies. Undefeatable, unstoppable, a terror to us all.
Now, we've mentioned that Caillou is bald. So, because he is bald, there became this terrible theory that he had cancer, and that is why his parents let him get away with everything. This is not true.
Yeah,
but this was
that
a
would
theory.
be a wild HBO show about, the kid with leukemia and the parents trying to make his last days as comfortable as possible, but that is a different show. That's not Caillou.
Right. That was not the case with Caillou. The reason that he was bald is because in the books, Caillou is a 9-month-old baby. So he doesn't have hair. So in the show, he didn't have hair. And
so
they
why
tried
did they age him up?
I have no idea. I think he's a 4-year-old throughout the whole show, but they just wanted him to match the book.
Right.
They tried to give him hair as time went on, like in test drawings or whatever. But he was unrecognizable. You couldn't tell, yes, that's Caillou.
Who is this man?
So they kept him bald, and it was never their intention to add hair after they tried it.
That's very funny. It's like, you think he's bad bald, you should see him with hair.
Besides just parents, there's a lot of Caillou hate, like on Twitter. There's tons of memes about Caillou. One that I found was, if 2020 was a child, it would be Caillou.
Can you read the next sentence? Because this is killing me.
This is something I also found out on Twitter. Apparently, and I haven't tried it lately, they could have corrected this, but apparently if you Google Caillou's height, he is listed as 5 feet 11 inches tall.
He's a giant.
Also, if you want to know, he maybe weighs 171 pounds. And his blood type is B positive. Apparently, though, when some people Googled his height, it said he was 7 feet tall and 2 inches. He was even taller than 5'11".
He's Braceface's brother. He's
Maybe
that
so.
baby in that one episode of Rugrats where Angelica has a stress dream and there's a big baby that eats her. That was Caillou.
Wow. Cross-media
God.
icon.
Oh my god, that about killed me. Caillou almost claimed another life.
If you want to read more about Caillou, HuffPost Canada had tons of great articles, very funny on him. RIP to Huffington Post Canada, which was dissolved when they were bought out by BuzzFeed. Very
Gross.
recently. We can have our own opinions about that.
And this is probably a legal no-no, but I think if Nation of Animation could get some merch, I would love a shirt that has just like in really gnarly font, Caillou the Destroyer, and then it's like a gross anime warrior Caillou with a big sword standing on top of Barney's body with like Dora the Explorer and anyone else on that list. I wanna memorialize undefeated Mortal Kombat fighter Caillou.
That would be very good, but I think you are right in saying that legally, I don't know that we could get away with it.
What if we spelled it wrong? What if we swapped the O and the U? Caillou. It could be anybody. No, here's what we do. We give him hair, and he's unrecognizable.
That's not Caillou. Caillou's bald.
No, I don't know who this guy is. This is anybody. It's just a shirt.
Maybe so.
So Canada, you give and you take away. You give us the high highs of Arthur and Braceface, and you give us the low lows of Caillou.
And Angela Anaconda ruining a marriage.
And the sort of 7-10 split of Angela Anaconda.
Speaking on Canada and what they give and what they take away, We can't discuss Canada without discussing the sketchy side of Canada.
Yeah, sorry, Canada, you about to get red.
I will say, though, that many of the sketchy things about Canada are also the sketchy things about the United States.
Hey,
So,
I mean, yeah, we should also be better. That's no excuse.
it's true.
So, Canada, number one with the bullet, stolen land. You are a colonialist nation living on land that was taken from indigenous peoples through blood and cruelty. And that is an injustice that is egregious every single day of our lives. And also, to this day, there is still a lot of anti-indigenous discrimination that happens in Canada, and that needs to be sorted out post-haste.
Also, your Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, did blackface.
Yeah, he's not great. Yeah.
Is he
shouldn't have
hot?
done that.
Yes. Is he maybe Fidel Castro's son? Also.
Would be
yes.
cool. Does not forgive the blackface, though.
Nope. So,
not
big loss there.
That's not good. Also, despite your fantastic, and again, fantastically just necessary for the whole world, so don't get too excited about it, universal health care, Canada has not been doing great with COVID vaccine rollout. There has been a lot of difficulty getting information. I follow a number of people in Canada on Twitter, and I have a few friends in Canada, and they say that it's nigh impossible to get the healing needle, and that is a failure of structure of governmental infrastructure and supply. It is also a little bit our fault for patenting those, for letting American companies patent those vaccines and not share them with the whole world to save the whole world, and that is a humanitarian crime that those life-saving vaccines are under patent protection. That's disgusting. So we're sorry about that, but Canadian organizations could do a little better communicating with your citizens.
So those are just a few of our problems with Canada. There are undoubtedly more, but today that's what we'll get into.
Those are the headlines. So now that we've sort of reviewed the entire nation, we've looked at, this is a different nation of animation today, the Canadian animation nation. Brooke, what do you think would be a show that is not Canadian that could really benefit from some of that maple leaf polish? What do you think could use a Canadian facelift?
Excellent question.
In this segment, we're calling Nation of Translation or Transnation of Animation. Which was better?
Whatever you want.
Transnation of Animation. Also, everyone's trans now, so congratulations.
Yes. So, we've talked just a little bit before, just touched on it really in past episodes, and you know this about me, Ryan. I have a problem with The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
The Simpsons is too mean for me.
Sure.
So, if I were going to take an American cartoon and make it a Canadian cartoon, it would be The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we would get a kinder Homer. Someone who does not choke his son for every little inconsequential action.
I will say it is kinder in the earlier seasons, although there is still some sun choking going on. But more recent Simpsons is heartless and cruel. But yeah, your point still stands, I think. Sorry.
We're going to replace Ralph Wiggum, or we can keep him, but he's going to become a Mountie.
Ah, perfect.
So even though I guess Mounties are still cops, I don't know, I'm not Canadian.
They are.
At least he's on a horse, and he's wearing a much more fun uniform.
That is a nice improvement.
Yes. Also, taking other things I know about Canada, the nuclear power plant is going to be replaced by a maple syrup factory.
Great.
I think that's nice and will benefit the town of Springfield even more than we can see.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
I think that, similar to you, I'm going to take a show I have a problem with. I think American Dad will be much better. Here's the thing. It's still called American Dad, but now the American is in quotation marks, and he's like a Canadian agent sent to America to help fix our broke-ass shit. I think American Dad would benefit from having an outsider perspective. So I think even though Seth MacFarlane thinks he's edgy and progressive, he hasn't actually been progressive for at least 20 years. And I think we need someone from the outside to really point out our truly American terribleness to us in a satire from a Canadian creator.
That would be good. I would watch that.
There you go. Also, I don't have this one as much fleshed out, but you mentioned The Simpsons makes me think, let's put Dragon Ball Z in Canada. Let's put it's Turkey Ball Z instead of a dragon. It's a big wild turkey.
Thank you.
That's all I really have. I just think it would be funny if they also all had French Canadian. If Goku had a Quebecois accent, I think that would be a good improvement also. That could be a dubbing thing, but I think that as a character, it should be a different version.
Sure.
So
I appreciate your input.
There you go. Any other Canadian transplants that you think would work?
Nah.
That's it. All right, that's good.
They've already given us so many great shows.
That's true. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Vancouver and Toronto, for your animation exports. The world thanks you. Except for Caillou.
Yes. Genuinely, though, thank you so much to everyone who listens to this podcast, but today specifically, thank you to our Canadian listeners. You give us a little boost of serotonin every time I check Chartable and see that we're in the top 50 for anime and manga podcasts in Canada.
Yes, thank you, Canadian listeners. Thank you for your service, and we'll keep on bringing you the hits if you keep on bringing us the clicks. So thank you for that. All right. Hey, American listeners, now that all the Canadians are gone, I got a message for y'all. Are you going to let some Canadians kick your ass in liking Nation of Animation? Are you going to let those Northerners, are you going to let those French colonists, unlike us colonizers from many countries, are you going to let them teach us how to enjoy a podcast? No, I don't think you are. Uncle Sam don't run. These colors listen to Nation of Animation. So what you're going to do is you're going to talk to all your Patriot friends, and you're going to get them to download Nation of Animation, and you're going to make them rate us and review us on iTunes as the best animation and manga podcast in America. And we're going to take that control back. We're going to show those Canadians how to enjoy a podcast. You with me? All right. Thank you. Solidarity forever.
Well, great. I had such a wonderful time talking Canadian cartoons.
Me too. This was a blast.
But before we go, Ryan, what is your real world rec for the week?
Okay, so my real world rec is a little book by a person named Emily Bronte. I am rereading Wuthering Heights for the first time in a decade. I haven't read this book in 10 years. I read it my freshman year of college, and I was like, yeah, it's okay, I guess, but let me just wade through this. I didn't super enjoy it until after I was finished. I was like, yeah, there's some good stuff there. I'm rereading it now. I'm loving every page. I think it's incredible. It's so good.
It slaps.
If you've never read it, give it a try. If it's not for you, if the prose is not your thing, then watch a film version of it. There's a really good old version with Timothy Dalton as Heathcliff, even though Heathcliff maybe isn't white, but what can you do? That's really enjoyable. And yeah, I think Wuthering Heights, a classic that deserves every word of praise it gets. Brooke, what about you? What have you been enjoying in the real world?
I've also got a book rec this week. I just read Kazuo Ishiguro's new novel, Clara and the Sun, which I loved. He's the author of my very favorite book ever, Never Let Me Go. And his new book, which is his first that he's written since winning the Pulitzer, slaps severely.
Nice. I'll have to read that. I can't wait for another fun laugh-a-minute story from Kazuo Ishiguro.
Oh yeah, that's how I would definitely describe his writing.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Well, I think that about does it for us this time here on the Nation of Animation. So, until next time, Brooke, what do we tell the people of Canada?
The Canadian nation of animation is strong.
Strong, eh? Saved it to the very end. Saved it to the very end of the show to say eh.
Thank you.
Nation of Animation is hosted by Ryan Stevens and Brooke Aaron Smith and produced by Danny Mendoza. Our show art is by Urvashi Lele, and our theme music is by Jacob Menke. Be sure to follow us at Cartoon Book Club on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for listening!